You are listening to the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast, where we take an all-in, leave no doubt approach to all things adventure hunting. From the big woods to the high country.
How about that?
Let's learn together as we discuss with our expert guests on what it takes to be successful in the backcountry. I'm your host, Weston Homa. Let's get into it. Go Hunt has a single purpose: make it easier for hunters to get into the field. Hunting tags are only getting harder to obtain, and Go Hunt is a research platform helping navigate the ins and outs of drawing tags and researching hunts across the West. I've had a Go Hunt membership for years now, and I'm a big fan of the articles written on there by Brady and Trail. The content is next level stuff that has helped me a ton. From animal behavior to archery, they are sharing all the nuggets. I also love the hunt films on YouTube. They are extremely inspirational, and they'll make you want to get out in the mountains ASAP. Check out the Go Hunt Gear Shop, where they have everything you need for this coming hunting season. Use the code RACK, that's R-A-C-K, for 10% off eligible items in the shop. And you can use the code RACK for $50 in-shop credit when you join as an insider. So sign up for a membership and immediately get $50 back toward hunting gear. Check it out, you won't regret it. Mountain Tough produces industry-leading functional fitness programming tested and proven by backcountry hunters and mountain athletes. Mountain Tough's programming allows users to train at home, at the gym, or on the go. These videos are like having a personal trainer right there with you every workout, wherever you are. Guys, I've been rocking the Mountain Tough workouts this past summer. I've been doing the mountain strength workouts as I'm putting on a ton of miles prepping for my 100-mile ultramarathon. This way, I'm going to be totally ready for hunting season once September comes around. There's also so much more video content on the app, including nutrition, yoga, mental health, and one of my personal favorites is the daily mobility. Use code RACK for 1 free month on the app. That's RACK, R-A-C-K, for 1 entire free month to try it out. Give it a look, and let's get Mountain Tough. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast. We are live high country mule deer hunting in Colorado, and I'm just having a hard time wiping the smile off my face, Dan.
It's a good morning.
I said that earlier, but I'm just so pumped. And I got my hunting partner / mentor here.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Dan Bump. Dan, how we doing today?
I'm good, Weston. So we can kind of pick up how we got here today as far as the bombing this morning.
Yeah.
So I flew in yesterday. Weston drove, got into Denver the night before, and then Weston picked me up yesterday around 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We bombed to where we are. We're about an hour from here, got a night in a hotel. And I said, well, let's just get up at 3:30. Season starts tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So today's Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think we should bomb up 3:30 in the morning and
yeah.
Let's get some eyes on deer at daylight. So we were pretty close.
We did, yeah. So we set the alarms early and then made the rest of the drive here. Bombed up super early, got up here. Sun was still coming up a little bit, but still
we were right up sunrise, so
yeah.
We were probably 20-30 minutes later than we could have been.
Yeah.
But we were good. It worked.
It was good. And we saw hold on. Even before we get into that, Dan, because we had a good morning. We were day before season to scout, and we went and got water, camp chores were set up. It's just midday right now. We're gonna go glass the evening, and we're gonna hit it hard in the morning. Season starts tomorrow. Yeah. But before we even get into what we saw today, just give a little intro about who Dan Bump is.
Who is Dan Bump?
Dan Bump's a killer, and I feel like more people need to know.
So I'm just your normal, average, everyday blue-collar guy. In my late 40s. I'm going to age myself. So, I don't know. I've been hunting my whole life. Mostly I'm from Pennsylvania also. We probably should have covered that.
Yeah.
And back about 2006 or 7, I had a good mentor that was a backcountry hunter, invited me out, and I was scared to death, and I dove in, and almost 20 years later, here we are. I've done a lot of backcountry hunts. Pretty simple guy, do a lot of solo hunts. I just like to get after it, and I love the high country.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I met Dan basically just through Rock Slide. So we talked a little bit about the story on the way down here, because I couldn't remember when that was or what my
I remember
first.
Perfectly.
Yeah, okay. So I wrote a thread on Rock Slide, and I wanted to pick people's brains on 2 years ago. I had
This
a late
is 2023.
2023.
Summer of 2023.
Yep. I had a late October Colorado mule deer tag. And I had 3 weeks off work for the job I was working with then. 2 weeks we're going to go to that hunt, and I had another week. And I was like,
keep a little.
I'm sorry.
We are still in pretty good deer country.
Yeah, we are. We're kind of in this micro drainage between two big basins. Feel really good about, and we're right at timberline. So sorry, I got excited.
Yeah, I do too.
I know. But anyway, so that was 2023, and I put a thread out. Oh yeah, so the other week I was like, well, I'm just gonna go scout my deer unit. Like, why? Because I was thinking about a backpacking trip, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go scout the deer unit. Like, what else would I rather do?
Yeah.
So I went out solo for a week in August. Drove out there from Pennsylvania by myself just to scout. And I think the thread was I wanted to pick guys' brains on like.
I don't remember the thread title, but I remember seeing it because it was in the Mule Deer Forum.
Yes.
And so at the same year, I drew pretty much a once in a lifetime tag for Colorado, and I was doing the same thing. I was flying out early, solo, hiking into backcountry and scouting, and I saw his thread, and it just struck me as here's another Pennsylvania guy who's putting in the effort to go solo just to scout. Like there's a lot of Eastern guys that will get after it and they'll do a solo hunt. Very, very few Eastern guys will put the time in and the money and the vacation to come out just to scout. So it really struck me, and I just sent him a message. I said, hey man, I saw you was from Pennsylvania, fellow PA guy. I'm doing the same thing. I wish you the best. Just simple small talk. But I wanted to give him props that I saw on Rockslide, and we just kind of stayed in touch ever since then, and worked out pretty good.
Yeah, we stayed in touch, and then I have this whole experience on my YouTube channel. Flash forward a year later. Last year. So this is 2024, and just throughout that time, though, I always would pick your brain on backcountry gear and mule deer, because we were just talking about. I could tell you had a lot of experience and everything, and long story short, went to Idaho, got burned out. The unit closed. I was on an archery deer hunt before the season even started. Big fire, ruined all of it. And that was a solo hunt too. I was out there a few days early to scout. I was so upset, but I ended up messaging Dan and said, hey, I know you're in Colorado with a couple guys. Dan had a bear tag, and he was with two guys with deer tags. And I live for this stuff. I was like, I do not want to go home. Hey, can I just come down to your camp from Idaho to Colorado? I will be the meat packer. Yeah. I will do camp chores. I will take pictures, whatever. And Dan, we had been talking long enough at this point, I think could tell a little bit like, okay, this kid loves this stuff.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah, so I was like, don't worry about me at all. I'll be good. I don't want to hold you guys up. I just don't want to go home. So he said, of course. So I'm driving down to Colorado, and then I thought, what are the odds this area is an over-the-counter elk tag?
Yeah.
And at the time, that was the last year you could buy OTC elk in archery season as a non-resident. So sure enough, it was. And I was like, why'd you not want to mess these guys at all? But luckily, I mean, they're deer hunting. I was like, I'll go on if I find elk, but it gets between you and the deer. Like, don't even worry about it. But you know how it goes when you get in the mountains, and you don't have a tag. Like, we're going to see a bunch of elk. Yeah. So he was like, no, dude, of course, dude, get the elk tag.
So you shot me a text like, hey, man, I don't even know how to ask this, but would you care if I bought an elk tag? I'm like, I don't care. We ain't hunting elk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like, and we all met at the trailhead that whatever morning it was. It was the day before opening day.
Day before.
Yeah.
So we packed in.
Trailhead.
That was the first time I physically met Dan.
Right.
And then the two other guys.
Yeah.
Never talked to them before. But how awesome was that hunting camp?
That was a great camp, and that was a haul in.
Yeah, that was.
Had a couple guys dealt with some altitude sickness.
Yep.
We ended up moving after that. Well, when we were in there, I found all them elk. I'm like, hey, dude, you really need to just blow over there and kill an elk.
Yeah.
Weston did his thing, and then me and the other guys bounced to another area.
So I'm out doing my thing. Message Dan. After a few days, I'm out solo. Do another big stalk on this herd of elk, and I arrow a cow, and I'm like the happiest dude on the mountain. Message Dan. Dan gets me a message right back and says, shot a bear.
Yeah.
So it was like, you got to be kidding me. And then, that was a fun trip.
It was a stellar week.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that's how we then physically met.
Yeah.
And then always kept in touch. And then shooting the shit in the off season, application season's coming up, and it's like, hey, how many points you got in this state for this species, just talking.
Yeah.
Long
Well, I
story
was
short.
planning on coming to this area anyways, and I'm like, hey man, what do you think about just joining me? And we had the same amount of points. Actually, I had extra point.
You had 2, I had 1.
Yeah, and I burned it up. We
Yeah.
won't talk about too many points where we're at.
No, yeah, it's all right. It's all good. But we drew, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna be awesome. So
Yeah. And so you had never been to this area,
no,
but you had seen some of the pictures I had
Yes.
before, and I felt pretty good about it. I had been in this area and knew where to camp, knew where there was some water, thought there might be some deer.
Mhm.
So it's been a good morning.
so yeah, so that's how we got here. Then we got up here, like we said, sun was already coming up a little bit, but we were able to get on the glass, and we saw a good number of deer. We saw some does, we saw
So some elk,
some elk.
cows and calves.
And then, so we thinking those 3 bucks at first were part of the bigger group.
I would guess so, yeah. So
Okay.
we saw a bachelor group of 3 bucks that were smaller.
Yeah.
Then we saw a shooter
Uh-huh.
way up high.
Yeah.
He crested somewhere else. And then, lo and behold, we saw a bachelor group of 7 bucks, which I think the first 3 we saw ended up in that group. So
Yeah. And I mean,
there's some
Mustang, I
shooters.
have a high standard, but I'd love to get my first archery mule deer under my belt. Dan's killed a lot of mule deer, so I
Yeah.
think we're looking for something a little better for Dan, but
So
we'll see.
I have killed quite a few mule deer bucks, and I've killed some pretty good bucks. I have yet to kill one with a bow. So actually, I have never set out to hunt mule deer with a bow. I'm a gun guy. I'm actually a gunsmith, so I like to shoot things, and archery seems to always hold me back. But to do this in September, I'm a mule deer fanatic. If you want to hunt above timberline in September, you have to archery hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've done it on a once in a lifetime tag, and there's some tags you can get probably every 6 or 7 years, which who knows where that'll be
Yeah.
in the future.
That was an
right?
early rifle tag.
Yeah, it was an early,
Right.
it was an early above timberline rifle tag. And it was fantastic. I wish I could do it every year, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, if I want to continue to do this, I'm gonna have to archery hunt. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah. But I liked how we were talking earlier a little bit. Dude, we were just like sitting over there. It was all quiet. I took a second. I was looking around, and I was just like, man, this is awesome. And then you looked right at me and were
Instantly.
like, dude, this is the best. So it's like,
This is really what makes my world tick.
and we even mentioned too, like, yeah, some guys might say, like, you don't need to pack in high up in the high country, don't need to pack in far or even backpack hunt. But I think what I just try to explain to people is
Once
like,
it's in your blood, you either love it or hate it.
yeah,
Like,
this is what I want to do.
guys are either. I've brought guys with me that I don't think will ever do it again, and I've been with guys that like they love it. So there ain't a whole lot in between.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys will probably do it just because the success rate's probably a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get away from people.
Yeah, but I just love it and cannot wait for the morning. I mean, it's here. It's already September,
It's here.
and
It's,
like
it's real.
just trying to be present too, just taking it all in. And
Yeah.
so we do. So we do have a good spot right now. I mean, we got some water close. We got some deer close. I did want to like pick your brain a little bit. What do you think makes this area? I'm not saying there's Pope Youngs all over the place, but like it's
So
decent deer area. What do you think about it?
what I think it's an overlooked area. I found it. I e-scouted it and thought it looked good. And had been in it. When I got in here, it showed me what I expected to see. I think it's, without saying how far in we are, it's not the 10 miles deep area.
Right.
It's too far to day hunt. I think we talked about this a little bit. Where like you couldn't hike in here before daylight, hunt all day, hike out, stay at your truck or hotel, and you couldn't do that more than a day or two. It would
No.
kill you.
Mm-mm.
Not really, but it would be brutal.
Yeah.
But it's not that, hey, let's go 10 deep thing.
Yeah.
So I think it gets overlooked a little bit. Guys think there's nothing in there. So I don't know. And I think the basin has good feed. There's water in the basin at 12,000 feet, which is critical. Maybe not as much for deer. I'm not really an elk hunter. It'll hold elk because it'll hold elk at the top of timber. Like, they're not going to live above timberline like the deer do, but it'll definitely keep elk up high because there is water. So I think, you got three things. So far, I haven't been here a lot. This is probably my fifth day in here. I've seen very, very few people. I've seen some, but not Colorado pressure.
Right.
So I think it's low pressure. I think it's good feed, and I think it's water.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen the basin. It's got escape routes to 4 or 5 other basins. We could blow these deer out of here. Like, we're all excited.
I know.
And we got stocks coming, but failed stocks can also mean blown out basins. So they have escape routes. And, we're going to glass some other basins tonight. Maybe he'll find some good backup plans, backup bucks.
Just glassing them this morning, it just seems like
this is where
like
they
they're
want to be.
comfortable.
This is
where
their
they wanna be.
bedroom. Like,
Yeah.
and we've heard other guys talk about, deer won't leave the mountain, but they'll go to another bedroom, right? And Marlon's talked about that.
I was going to bring him up, actually.
Yeah. So I think this is their master bedroom, right?
Okay.
And it's got their kitchen and their water. But that doesn't mean they can't bounce to another bedroom when they get blown out, and they can still come over here and feed and water.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing for them. Well, we saw that buck this morning. He crossed over the pass at 13,000, and I know he just bedded on the other side. He may be back in here tomorrow. Mm-hmm. He may have something over there.
Mm-hmm. Like, no big deal. Just
they live here.
Yeah.
They're not like flatlanders like us.
Right. And that's what I always thought about, too, first time coming out looking for mule deer. Like, you blow a whitetail out, you're afraid he's, you don't know how far he's going to go, like, really blow him out. But, it seems like mule deer, I like that analogy. This maybe couple basins here is their house.
This mountain is their house. This basin's a bedroom. This basin's a bedroom. This may be their master bedroom with, like I said, with the kitchen and the water.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's plenty here for them. Now, if this place had a ton of pressure, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
They're not going to, you're going to see small bucks here, but you're not going to see mature bucks hang out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Back to what you said about Marlon, too. If you guys aren't following Gray Light Hunter, you got to give him a follow. I don't know him personally, but I got to try to.
Yeah, I mean, I've we've had a couple messages back and forth online. I had bought his. He's got a really good. It's an app basically 100% focused around education on mule deer. Marlon, I'm giving you a free plug.
Right. Me too.
Yeah. So
I've heard him talk on podcasts or two, and that guy has spent so much time in the field, and when he gets asked about mule deer, I mean, he's
like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's frustrating because he does make it sound really simple.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it is. Like, you have to really find where they feel the most comfortable with those three things you talked about.
Yeah.
Like safety, feed, and water. And up here,
food, cover, and escape.
Yeah. And I just feel like I've been to some units, even parts of Idaho that just, I mean, deer can live in a lot of places, but they
live in gnarly places too.
I know, but when you see the amount of like feed in some of these bottoms and the water and stuff, and it's like that's just your instincts are almost like there's game in here.
Yeah. And I think you'll see tomorrow. We didn't notice it today when I was in here before. Some of the places these mature bucks will bed in are just nasty, and it's going to be hard for us. We got 7 full days of hunting after today.
Right.
It's going to be hard to get some stalks in. The bucks are going to have to bed in a really good spot because some of these places, they're almost unstockable. They're super high in scree slides that you can't get above them, you can't get below them. Mm-hmm. I've sent you some pictures from previous in here that they live in gnarly stuff. They don't get big being dumb. That's the old saying. So
seems like it's two parts of the game. You got to find them, and then just as important, it's like they got to be killable.
Yeah, and if you could have a rifle tag in here in September, it would be unfair.
It'd be nice. So we're totally excited. But I like how we talked too on the drive down. Just like kind of hearing the stories of guys talk about how kind of the backcountry hunting was. I don't want to say back in the day, but
the history
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of, and even touch on too, like when I read Backcountry Bow Hunter, Cam Haines, maybe that was 4 or 5 years ago, I really inspired me. I've had multiple guys I kind of like to follow and get some inspiration from.
I mean, they're legends for a reason, right?
Right, exactly. But around that, when that come out, 2005,
that book came out in 06, I believe.
That's kind of when you
06, 07. Yeah. So when he wrote that book, he'd been doing it longer than me. Cam's actually 10 years older than me, and I had started about that time. And it's funny because I reread that book just recently, and I was just kind of chuckling at the gear and the pictures, and things he talks about, maps. And
Mm-hmm.
when we started this, and my mentor that taught me, his name's Kirk, fantastic guy. There was no Onyx.
Right.
There really wasn't even GPSs. There was, like, you could get an E-Trex that was big and heavy, or Magellan, and they worked, but they were, I can drop a pin and I can walk straight line to that pin. There was no topos on it.
Yeah.
It was a different, everything was heavier, like we got these shoulders behind us. I think yours is 17 ounces, and mine's,
Oh my God, yeah.
Mine's 19 or 20 ounces. Yeah. Kirk wrapped himself in a tarp.
Right.
He put a bivy sack on, wrapped himself in a tarp, and that's how it was done.
Yeah.
Eastman always talked about that. Mike always called it coyoteing out. You read the old Eastman books, and that's the game that I cut my teeth in. It wasn't the 60s and 70s hardcore guys. Those guys are animals, but it's different, man. And we talked to another guy today talking about even that was 18, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You had to scout. Like, I don't know if Google Earth existed then. It wasn't too long after that, but it wasn't what it is today.
And I think even when it started, you had to pay like big money for it.
Yeah.
So nobody was using it.
And it wasn't as fluid in 3D and all that.
Right.
You could get aerials and look at stuff. And like, I remember mytopo.com. I don't even know if they're still in business, but like, I would get topos made out, and I would get one of a topo, and I would get an aerial because they had satellite imagery that you could buy. But you had to hike into places, and hey, there's a meadow here,
Mm-hmm.
Now we can pull up Onyx on any given day, and I can go 3D, and I can rotate that thing around, and I can tell you I'm going to camp here. Like, it's just, I love it today as much as I did then, but I'm not going to lie, it's a lot easier now than it was then.
Right. So I think it's like, it's interesting to have that, like, it's good to have that experience to fall back on, where it's
Yeah.
I don't really need all this stuff. It's nice to buy, like, I love gear. I'm sure you do too. Make things easier.
We're all gear junkies.
Right.
We would be here if we weren't, right?
Exactly. But it's like, it can be done without it.
I will say, and like, part of me wants to say it helps success rates now because you can scout steeper and deeper, right? That's the old term.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that that's true, because we would go back in then and you did not see a human. And we hunted Colorado. Like 2007, we went in Colorado. There was one group of guys that had horses in there where we used to go, but we never saw a hunter unless there was an outfitter, with a drop camp, or we would pass outfitter, pack strings coming in or out. And they thought we were crazy because we were backpacking in. I remember one outfitter stopped me, and we just high chit chat on the main trail, and we were about 5.5 to 7 miles, somewhere like that. And he's like, "Are you guys hiking in with packs on your back?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're crazy." Like, he looked at us stone cold. He's like, "You're crazy." We killed bulls. I mean, I used to elk hunt back then, but yeah, it's so like we want to say today's easier and it's more successful, but there's so many more guys doing it. There's more pressure, which, pushes the game around. Deer herds go up and down. Mm-hmm. Different places. There's always goods and bads. I was talking to you on the way here about my dream was to go in the Gunnison Basin, and I started building points back in like 2006. Well, then the '08, the winter kill happened, and that basin has never came back to what it was prior to then. So you have to be mobile. I've killed mule deer in Nebraska, Montana, Idaho, Colorado. So if you want to play the game, you have to want it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to say, I'm going to go hunt a 0-point unit in Colorado every year and be successful, because you could. There's guys that could do this every year in 1-point unit and probably be great. Mm-hmm. But you have to spread yourself around.
I think it all comes down to attitude. On the way here, when you were telling me about the Gunnison Basin, you never caught up to the point creep, and I'm like, yeah, it's tough. But immediately your mind was like, well, there's always other opportunities.
What else can I do?
Like, you weren't like I think we talked about this before, comparing it to now versus back in the day versus pressure, and obviously tags are harder to get.
Yeah.
Like, won't deny that. But I mean,
the point creep has changed.
Yeah, but
and every state gets harder, which makes there's more hunters.
Right.
Go. I'll let you finish that. I have another funny point on the times have changed.
Yeah, but it just, I guess the question was like, how did I ask this to you before? Like, what the biggest difference between then and now, and like success rates and pressure,
Yeah,
things
so
like that.
the guys that hunted back then, the guys that backcountry hunted back, they did it the same reason we're doing today. They loved it. But the thing is, there was no YouTube. There was no, Corey Jacobson's elk introductions or, there's so much education out there. Um, Anybody can become a good backcountry hunter today. There's pack dumps. There's videos of all the latest and greatest gear, the ultralight this, the ultralight that. And I love it. I use it. We didn't have that. There was no access, especially an Eastern guy.
Right.
I couldn't go down to Shields and be like, hey, what's your latest sleeping pad?
Right.
Didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could go to Cabela's and maybe the warehouse would have one to go give me a look at, but yeah. So success rates, if you took total hunter numbers, they say hunter numbers drop off, but then you got more guys in the backcountry. So I don't know how it would all relate. I never look at those numbers, but I would say success rates are probably better now because anybody can be a good hunter if you just want to. And I'm not even say you do have to put the work in. You're not getting here easy.
Right.
Like there's no easy button to get to September high country.
Right.
There is none. But if you want to and put the work in, all the education's there. You can watch 100 YouTube videos for the 2 months prior to getting here, and you can know what to do.
Mm-hmm. It does ass kicked a little bit.
Yeah,
still.
And it's not going to hand you the deer on a platter. You're going to learn from mistakes. You're going to forget things your first few times. Like, I forgot about the thermals. I got in there. I felt the wind hit my neck. I never checked. I was so excited. Experience will gain you more than anything you can ever watch. But you can start from scratch way ahead of the game than you could 20 years ago.
And I just feel like, back to the attitude thing, a lot of guys are just saying, they're almost hearing on podcasts and just people talking.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Robbie Denning, I feel like, is always the first to have a great attitude about mule deer populations and hunting. And he's like, you just have to think differently. Like, there's still a lot of opportunity. It's like your hunt that you did back in the early 2000s might not look the same right now.
No, it's not. They're going to be different. And that's, we touched on this just in conversation about the heyday of mule deer. Well, maybe overall nationwide, the heyday of mule deer is gone, but there's still heydays in places. Mm-hmm. And Robbie talks about that. Like, there's still good places. There's still places that's going to put a 200 buck out every year.
And then even, I'll pump you up because I'm too humble, but like past 12 years, how many mule deer?
I think I'm 12 for 12 or 14 for 14. Now, there was a couple years where I didn't hunt mule deer and didn't get a buck, but there was also some years where I killed 2.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
I think I'm 12 for 12 or 14 for 14.
So a ton of opportunity, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come easy.
No, not saying that. But I just like to put that out there because it seems like a lot of guys get discouraged, especially when they're starting out.
Yeah, and one of those was with it was semi-guided. I only had 3 days. I called an outfitter. I'm like, hey, man, can you cut me some kind of deal, pack me in, meet me on the way out? He was super accommodating. I'll give him a plug. It was Corey Daly from Little Lost Outfitters in Idaho. Fantastic operation. He did exactly what I asked him to do. He had a guy with me that, helped me out. So, like, I do pretty much everything myself. I won't say I've never done a guided hunt because I have. You just got to make work. And in that year, I had drawn another tag, and I'd already bought an Idaho tag.
I gotcha.
So I was like, I only had X amount of days. Make it happen.
But other years, I mean, gosh, dude, last year, what a tough hunt you had in Idaho. Still came away with a really good buck.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest grind.
And it was just a general deer tag.
General deer tag, low deer number unit. Had a little bit of, I had been in that unit before on a previous, I had an elk hunt and I had a deer tag that year kind of as a bonus add-on. I ended up killing a smaller buck the last day that year. Fast forward, I really wanted to hunt Idaho. I didn't know what else I had. I like to have an Idaho tag in my pocket because I never know what the draws are going to hold. So I picked up an Idaho tag. I was able to get that unit. I know it wasn't a good unit, but I know it holds deer. It can hold deer. Everywhere it holds deer. It's fine though. So yeah, long story short, planned to go in there, backpack solo for the whole week. Got in where I wanted to be. It was awesome, except for the fact that I couldn't find many deer. I saw a couple of really small bucks, And then the weather rolled in, and when the area I was in, I knew if you get snowed in there, you may not get out. And I had a good four-wheel drive vehicle, but I was not comfortable staying there for fear of it's a long drive out on bad roads. So, long story short, I was like, I have to bomb off the mountain. I'm going to go to the nearest town. I'm going to stay in a hotel, and I'm going to get up after the snow flew, I'm going to drive as far as I can and see what the road is like. So I did that, and I was able to get not back to where I had packed out and packed in before, but I was getting the same pretty close area. I saw one good buck the whole week. I actually missed him because I read my rangefinder wrong. It doesn't happen often, but we all make mistakes. So, long story short, my last day I could hunt was on a weekend, and I knew the pressure was. I saw more trucks starting to show up. I think it was day 7, and it was a solo hunt, and it was getting dark last day, and I was just watching this basin, and I felt there could be a buck in there. About 35, 40 minutes before last light, I saw a white spot way up in the timber, just in an opening. I threw my spot and scope on it at the truck, and I bailed out of the truck as fast as I could. I sprinted. It was about 3/4 of a mile, all elevation. I had pinned him from the truck, and lo and behold, I found him laying there looking at me about 450-ish, and shot him in his bed. He was a really good buck too.
Yeah, but that's just dude adapting to the situation, calling an audible, weather.
And like I said, it was a low deer density unit. It wasn't a trophy unit by any means. And everybody has a different opinion of a trophy. I'm not a giant trophy hunter. I mean, he was a high 160s, low 170s buck. Great buck, especially for that era. Great buck. But, never give up. I mean, you spent the money on the tag. You took the vacation time. Why would you quit early?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, sometimes the weather dictates, there's things you can't do, but.
Mm-hmm. But just calling an audible and still to the last minute.
Make it happen.
Yeah. So is that some good advice you'd have maybe for some guys starting out or just having a rough go?
Yeah, the best advice I can give a new guy is take advantage of everything that's out there. Like we talked about today's YouTube and the education stuff that's out there. You got Go Hunt, you got Onyx Elite that they can tell you every draw unit or every draw odds for every unit. There's so much knowledge out there. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of that. Figure out what you want to do. I will never not tell somebody to work extremely hard to be in shape. Because unless you want to hunt off the road with everybody else and complain about all the pressure like everybody else, you have to be able to get after it. So get in shape, take advantage of all the education and information that's out there. The YouTube videos are fantastic, and we've dropped a couple names, but there's a million other ones. There's guys that I watched 1 or 2 videos of and thought they're fantastic. I don't even know who they are.
Right.
So, but yeah, take advantage of that. Get in shape. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because the only way you're ever going to learn is make mistakes. Nobody's going to go out and tag out every year consistently. I mean, everybody's going to eat a tag here or there, Or hey, if you want to shoot a little, shoot a forky your first year so you can get that experience. I mean, there's another thing. If you're from the East and you're not used to seeing an animal on the ground that you got to pack out, it's a whole different world. So. And there's YouTube videos for that. Like the education's there for everything. I was fortunate enough in my very first Western hunt back in 2006 or whatever it was. I saw a dead elk on the ground, and I watched guys cut that thing up, and I learned right there.
There you go.
So
I think the best advice for that too: do it if you're from back east. Do it on your whitetail.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if you're on the back 40. Like it's the best experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing saying you're not allowed to do it in any state, Well, I shouldn't say any state. Pennsylvania, there's no problem. You can pack your animals out.
Right.
So yeah, learn that, and get over the fear of doing something new and hard. So many guys are like, I don't know, that sounds terrible. Well, yeah, it's not all fun all the time. I mean, we love this. We've talked about how much we love it, and it's not for everybody. I already mentioned that, but don't be afraid to to try it.
Yeah, and there's still hard times even for us.
I mean, we're going to get weather at some point this week, I'm sure.
But that's okay, you know?
You're
It's like,
not going to die.
right, yeah. And, like, it's okay when things are hard. I think people are just quick to
when
be
you
like...
get back and somebody says, yeah, you know, you want to even say how hard it was, blow yourself up a little. Maybe it was hard, and then look at somebody and go, but did I die?
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I encourage everybody to try. I know a lot of guys are like, the more people that you talk about and push to do it, then there's more pressure in the back. Listen, this backcountry isn't going to see any more hunters in 5 years than it saw 5 years ago.
I think it's a good way to look at it. It's very true.
If you're 100 yards off the road, there sure is going to be a lot more people.
Right, that looks different, and that's not what we're talking about.
Different.
That's
Absolutely.
not what we do.
No,
yeah,
no, and there's a time and a place for everything. And someday I'm not going to be able to do this. I know my backcountry hunting days are on a time clock. Like that's life, and that's what we're going to deal with. So I'm going to do it as much as I can, as long as I can. And when the time comes that I can't, I'll have to do something different, and I'm okay with that. But I'm going to build those experiences.
So I did want to give Dan props. At 47, ran your first half marathon this year.
I did.
I was so stoked for you.
Yeah, it was.
How'd that go?
So it was terrible. I picked one that was. It wasn't an ultra, or it wasn't a trail run. It was a regular half marathon, which I think generally don't have a ton of elevation. And I somehow picked one that had 4 miles of continuous, 2 miles of continuous elevation, and another 2 miles of continuous elevation, and some more at the end. So I went into it with a kind of a time in my head, and I was no ways near that time, and I was kind of bummed out at the end. And then I found out I won my age class. I got first place for it was 45 to 50 or 40 to 50. So yeah, I can't complain. I was pretty happy with that.
But you got the progression you had just in those weeks of training.
Yeah,
couple months.
I planned it real quick, and I'm not gonna say I've been running for a long time. I had just never ran anything over. I think I ran 8 or 9 miles before, and I knew Weston was really into the long runs and the ultras and stuff. And I said, hey man, can you just give me some kind of plan? I don't know how to prepare for anything. Like, I'm the guy that I wake up in the morning and today I'm going to go run. So I just throw my shoes on and go run.
Yeah.
My wife always kind of wondered how or why I did it that way, and it drove her crazy, but it's just the way I am. But anyway, so he made me a program. I stuck to it almost to the T, and it was awesome. Yeah, it worked great. So super props to you for helping me get through that.
You did it, dude. That's what I always tell people. Like, I love helping people, and people are watching this and listening or interested in some of that. Hit me up. I love helping people just get in better shape like that. And definitely, I mean, it helps we're out here. But I always tell people though, you did it, dude. I didn't take those steps for you.
No,
I did it. You put the miles in.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm glad I did. Like, it's a box that I had thought about for a long time that I kind of wanted to check, and there's some things in the past couple of years that I just time-wise. There was one. It was the Kinzu Half Marathon in Pennsylvania in Mount Jewett that I wanted to run, just for some unknown reason. It's the one I picked out. In the past couple of years, there was scheduling conflicts. I couldn't get to run that. So this year it fit in, and I'm like, I'm just doing it. Like, I'm just going to do it. So, yeah, don't be afraid to try hard things.
That's it. I think it's all that attitude, dude.
Yeah.
Look at these hunts. Look at something like that. 47, screw it. I'm going to run my first half. And just figure it out. It's going to be hard, but you're going to do it.
And like I said, someday I may not, but until that day comes, I'm not going to give it up.
That's it. Just focus on maximizing today.
That's it. So speaking of today, I think we're getting pretty close to that. We might want to go try and find some more deer for tomorrow. See if we can put an arrow through something.
Yep. So that's what I was thinking too. We'll wrap up here.
Yep.
We're going to glass for the evening, and season opens tomorrow. We got bucks in these basins. We got time. We got camp set up. I mean, it doesn't get
everything
this,
feels really good right now.
Yeah.
The one unknown is somebody could come in here tomorrow morning or show up that we don't know is going to be here. We're going to take everything as it comes. We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. That's our saying for Poncho and Lefty. We'll figure it out.
That song came on the way down here, and Dan shoots left-handed.
Yeah.
I kept saying, I was like, that's it. We're Poncho and Lefty.
Yeah.
That's our code words on this trip. So, all right, Poncho and Lefty, we're going to wrap up and hopefully get on, glass up some bucks tonight and get on them in the morning. So let's do it, man.
All right, man.
Chase some velvet muleys.
Yeah. We'll touch base again.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. I think this was going to be part 1. I think we're going to try to get a part 2 in on this trip at some point too.
We got to
So,
at least do a wrap up.
yeah, at least a
we
wrap
might
up.
we might have 3. We may have some kills with some heads, and then do a wrap up.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll do a wrap up with our buck skulls right here.
That would be awesome.
So
All right. Until
catch
next
you on
time.
the next one. Thanks, guys.
Hey, if you liked that episode, please share it with a friend, share it on your story, and give the podcast a rating and a review on wherever you listen. For more of this type of content, you can head over to the YouTube channel and follow along on all the social platforms. Really appreciate it. See you on the mountain.